really the perfect day and the perfect start to our show, as we've got Dana Brown here, who's the owner of Cervices. Yesterday during our show, we were wondering if we were even gonna make it through the program and have to flip over to weather because everything was so wild out there. So days like this, it's handy to have people just like you in our community.
Well, we're very glad to be on today and talk to your viewers. Obviously, yesterday was one of those pins and needles days, right? So, you know, watching all the coverage and seeing all the build up to it, and we thought there for a little while maybe the majority of Louisville area was going to not have an impact, and it was just pins and needles all the time, right? So we were wondering, is it going to hit us? How bad is it going to be? When is it going to happen? Are we safe? All of those things, there's no way getting around those kinds of weather fears.
Right.
But our role really is to educate people, because fear feeds on a lack of preparation. So if you're in a catastrophic event like that, you're going to be afraid. You don't need to add to it with stuff that you could have taken care of today. So really, that's kind of our role, and what we're looking to come and speak to people about is the things that they can take care of today, so that you know, this can be a warning to us all of the things that we need to have in place and know who to call and what to do and where to find the right information, how to verify we've got the right coverages, how to verify, you know, what the process is supposed to look like, and have a little bit of peace of mind for those situations where it's kind of hard to find.
Yeah, and it's good too you talked about being prepared, because even though yesterday's event rolled through, and we're going to have some photos and video to show throughout the show, because you're going to mention different damage levels, kind of what you need to do, but being prepared is just the first step, because this might be the beginning of our severe weather season. We don't even know what's yet to come in the months ahead.
Definitely. So if you are in one of those really hard-hit areas, you know, our heart goes out to you guys, because that is just catastrophic, the amount of devastation. And so first and foremost, we are so sorry that you guys are hitting in this situation. A lot of the damage that you're seeing, like on these pictures, these folks are going to definitely need a company like ours, but they're going to be a ways out. You know, that insurance process is not known for its swift
and a claim
resolution.
of that size, I imagine, takes even longer.
Definitely. So, you know, definitely you're going to be reaching out to your insurance carriers and getting the process started, but it's going to be a long road for those folks. And so definitely, you know, keep us in mind when it comes to that point. But for a lot of folks, they're seeing this level of devastation on those pictures, and they're thinking, oh, okay, well, that's not me. That doesn't necessarily mean you're out of the woods. So a lot of what we see with especially tornado damage is debris driven. So if you watched all the news coverage, you know, they had these great graphics, and they go in and they zoom in and they show their pans and they show the scopes and the debris field and all the stuff that I kind of nerded out over yesterday. I love watching that
the
stuff.
Scientific, technical stuff, right?
But when they're talking about the debris fields, the things that they're picking up, it's all hitting something.
Right.
And if it's your house,
landing somewhere.
Right. It may not, your roof may not be in your front yard. You know, your siding may still be attached to your house. You may not be in the scenario that some of these photos are showing, but you still are going to have damage. And so it's that lesser known damage, that middle of the road stuff that definitely needs to be looked at sooner rather than later. So when the insurance companies are getting these calls of major damage, don't feel like your damage isn't enough to make a claim on. You definitely need to start the process and get your insurance company involved, even if it is significantly less damage than some of your neighbors.
I know this is part of once the storm has rolled through and you know that you're safe, and we're kind of where we are today, assessing things. Like you said, even if we don't see anything noticeable, we know the storm went through this area. Good to check your property. And speaking of checks, a checklist is something that you've put together of what to do when these things happen.
So actually this, I think we've got a graphic somewhere. There's a checklist of exactly what you need to go through step by step. This is actually put out by Owens Corning, which is one of our preferred vendors. And they just take you step by step, and this is going to be available on our Facebook page. We'll post that so people can check it out there, because you're not going to remember it all looking at the screen. But exactly what to check and in what order. So just walking around and taking notes, making sure that you're taking pictures. Your insurance company may take a while to come out, so get pictures of the damage while it's fresh. This is going to cover everything from roofing damage, anything that, if you lost power, a lot of people are still without power. You know, take a picture of the contents of your freezer. If you've got water that's coming in, take a picture of the condition of your flooring before your hardwood buckles, or anything of that nature. Take a picture of the spot on your ceiling before the drywall comes down, if you're in that sort of a scenario. But pictures. But we will have that checklist on our Facebook page as well. But that really brings me to another point, that it's not just a checklist that I put together. That's Owens Corning checklist. There are ones that the Better Business Bureau will put out. There are scam alerts. I actually saw Better Business Bureau's Facebook page for our area, the Louisville BBB, put out a scam alert of just, things to check out if you do have contractors that are in your neighborhood that are knocking door to door.
Because this happens. We always have to talk about the scams in the aftermath. This is why you go with a reputable company, though.
It is, and I don't like asking pointed questions, so I'll be the first to admit. I think that sometimes asking kind of a sideways question, ask them, where'd you go to high school?
Yeah.
And if you don't know where they went to high school, you might want to dig a little deeper. They might be from, Texas or there's no telling.
They come in and look for these storms, and they don't know the community. They don't know who they're even going to be contracting to do that work for you, even if they're not a scammer.
Even if they're not a scammer, exactly. But how good is a 5-year workmanship warranty if the workman isn't here?
Right. Right. And you're somebody that's, you've been on our show countless times. Yeah. People know you, you've been around, you've been in the community, and you've seen the type of damage and know the type of storms that come through here. Another way that you're able to help, too, is that you have products that you're able to use when people see this and say, I don't want some of this to happen again.
Yes.
Some of the technology's advanced where there can be hail-resistant siding and things like that, right?
Yes, definitely. So, if you find yourself in storm season every year thinking, oh gosh, did we make it through one more season? did we find our way through the season without damage? When it is time to get this work done, definitely do yourself a favor and look at some of the technological advances that have happened with hail-resistant shingles. Look at some different siding options instead of vinyl that does have a tendency to have more damage from wind. Look at products like Hardy, some composites, some things that have a little bit more heft to them that'll keep you from worrying quite so much when the sirens start going off and the nonstop weather reports are going. At least you can take a full breath and breathe easy.
And know what to do next. Okay,
Definitely.
We've got less than 30 seconds left, so I need to make sure that people can get into contact with you at Cervices, and then anything we can slip in on the Affordable Housing Management Conference, because you had a note on that as well.
We do, yeah. So we're actually going to be at the Affordable Housing Management Conference. It's in downtown Louisville next week.
Okay.
So if you're a property manager or landlord, definitely look for us. We'll have a booth set up there. We'll get you some goodies, which actually brings us to also the apartment complexes, condo associations. A lot of times those claims are a whole different ballgame. So reach out to us if you're in that scenario, and we can help you through that process. Insurance isn't exactly straightforward for anybody, but we can help those folks as well.
Okay, servicesllc.com.
Servicesllc.com.
Thanks for being here today. Thanks for stopping by. And I know people are going to be needing your services at Cervices, especially as we're right in the middle of storm season.
We're here.
All right. Stay with us here on Wave Listens Live.